So I'm greeting you here from Kislovodsk, Russia. It's Friday, 18th of April, and it's a very beautiful day. After a few days of a bit rainy weather, I returned here to Kislovodsk because my tour from 2 days was very short, and I really enjoyed Kislovodsk, and I wanted to see a bit more of it because when we were with the tour, I had to a bit rush. We had to see many things. So here we're in the North Caucasus, part of Russia, which is the Russian, let's say, mineral water region with mineral springs and mountain resorts. And here actually we're in a hilly side, not really in the Caucasus Mountains, which are a bit further south, maybe 80 kilometers. But we're also in a very pleasant hilly region. It's actually a region with about 5 hills, which also give the name of this region. And we're walking now in the largest park actually in Europe. It's a park that consists of 3 parts. The part right behind me, which is called the lower part, based on its geographical setup, which is the part full of restaurants, bars, entertainment. Now we're entering the middle part, which is created as a let's say botanical garden style with very tall trees and these roads that used to be very horse friendly, so they're not paved. And then the park continues with almost a natural reserve style that goes all the way to the top of the hill overlooking Kislovodsk, which it goes all the way, routes longer than 12 kilometers here. So it's a park of really big dimensions, nature park and city park. So I'm walking here next to my wife. She's from the region, and of course, you know, like, she then went on, as most of young people here are going to St. Petersburg, and from St. Petersburg to Switzerland. But this region is also an attractive region for people from St. Petersburg and Moscow who are coming here to spend their spring holidays. For instance, now we're getting close to the Easter season, so there's a lot of tourists coming from all over Russia to this southern part to enjoy the warm weather and very pleasant air and waters. So as I'm gonna walk in this park, I'm going to show you various other interesting parts, and hope that I remember and did my right lessons and remember what these guides have been telling me a couple of days ago. So here, one of the main attractions of the park, which is the this flower clock with the of course with the year and the date that is being changed every day. So now it is written there, 18th of April 2025. Tomorrow another it will be 19, and so on. And here, as we're turning towards the right side, we have the old town of Kislovodsk, which is set on a hill with the old fortress, which we're gonna visit a bit later, and the little river flowing. And the embankment of this river, very nice actually. The river now, you will see, is very low in its basin, but depending on the rains and flows, it can I understand it can go all the way up to this edge. So here, this very beautiful view of the river, and overlooking the river here, another few of these Soviet era hotels that were part of the Soviet program for tourism in the mineral water regions here in the North Caucasus. They're still operating, and they're operated still by by the state, and they're quite in good shape, and they're actually a testament to this period of development of tourism in Russia, which actually started earlier in the Tsarist times. And here actually we will see one of the representatives of the Tsar era tourism, Imperial Russia. To the left there is a pavilion. That pavilion used to be the pavilion where the Russian elites would be gathering during their stays here, the summer stays. Men used to send telegraph notes back to St. Petersburg and Moscow to conduct their business. Women were coming there to rent books, read books, and generally hang out. Of course, also relationships developed, some of them affairs, which for instance also inspired the great Russian novelist Chekhov to write his famous The Lady with the Dog, which is a history of a woman cheating on her man in a place, fictitious place set in Crimea, but in reality this place was the place where that whole history happened. Chekhov just had to change the name of the people in order to not compromise and not create any trouble for the people there. So also part of history here, a part of literary history connected to the city of Kislovodsk. Right now we can also hear the crazy whistling of a child that is just bothering the entire park. All these people walking peacefully here, but this child, of course, has a very bad education from his parents, and he got this whistle and is just bothering everybody in the park. So let's hope that the police will intervene and maybe deport him to Siberia. Let's see. I wanted to add one more thing. So I wanted to highlight the cleanliness and how well organized public parks are in Russia. It's a very, very impressive feat. The parks are very clean, very broad, and very classy maintained. So you wouldn't see all kinds of food stands or inappropriate type of like construction, restaurants. Everything is very clean, very classy, and also people behave themselves very elegantly in the parks. So with the exception of that kid that I mentioned earlier, people are very polite, very quiet. You wouldn't see these things like like people drinking beer in the park, squatting, or doing any of these crazy stuff that maybe we're used to in the West, that obviously are just sad if you think about it happening. So people really honor the park and have a very, very civilized and peaceful attitude here. So something really recharging you. And as we're going now out, I see my wife waiting for me. We're gonna go a bit on the hilly side, the old town of Kislovodsk, with the of course with the fortress of Kislovodsk and a few of these art galleries, little coffee stores, little antique stands like this one to my left. As we're walking out, up the hill, I saw a lot of these grannies actually knitting some of the stuff that is here on sale. You can even see there's a lot of traditional culture here, being close to the mountain villages of Kabardino-Balkaria, Karachovo-Cherkessia. A lot of these let's say farmer people or mountain people come here to Kislovodsk to sell their, for instance, woolen shoes, woolen sweaters. It's very interesting. Also some of these traditional Russian fur coats, fur hats. Look, like for instance in this store here, you can have this leather, traditional leather products. So we're here in Kislovodsk, and the week preceding Easter, the most important Orthodox celebration in Orthodox Christianity, and we're in front of the church of Saint Nicholas. This is the main cathedral of Kislovodsk and is actually built in the place of the first church of the town. It's a very impressive building, and as you can see, there are many churchgoers here coming, not only tourists. It's one of the main attractions of this place, and shortly we will enter inside. But before doing that, I wanted to show you a few interesting details. For instance, here we're going to this little clock tower containing depicting a few scenes of Saint Nicholas, and I just wanted to show you the level of detail that goes into such Orthodox Christian mosaics, for instance in this case, but also as we go inside the church, like this scales up to the entire interior, and paintings, icons, and so on. So very, very impressive work of art at a very big scale and at very high level of craftsmanship. We have another of the Russian specific delicacies, which are the Red October sweets from the Red October factory in Moscow, and you can buy them by the 100 grams, and they're very tasty. It's a very interesting taste of chocolate. I'm a big fan of chocolate, also coming from Switzerland, so you can imagine that my expectations are quite high, but I always enjoyed this taste of the Red October chocolates. And they have all kinds of interesting combinations, and this is a specialty which is called the bird's milk, which is a very fine, almost fluffy like white filling covered in chocolate glazing. So here we have one of also these early 20th century houses built in an eclectic style as home to rich people of that era. I don't know exactly which one, but our guide 2 days ago told us that Russian elites would definitely, like now, like contemporary businessmen would create their residences in these premium locations. Here we're in the middle side of the park, and slowly heading towards the higher part, where definitely we would see fewer tourists and more nature. There is another attraction on our way, a little bridge that whose history I will tell you shortly once we reach it. So here on this more wild part of the park, we are going to see one of the attractions of the park, which is this little bridge, which is called the Bridge of the Capricious Lady. And the history says that there was a rich lady that was always wanted to cross on one side, from one side to the other of the bridge, because her house was on one side and her favorite restaurant on the other. And she, you could imagine back in that time, with this big skirts that they were wearing, like she couldn't do it, and she was always demanding from her husband to carry her in his lap, and he got tired after doing this for a few times, and then he just ordered building this bridge. So that's how the history goes, and now it's one of the attractions of this park of Kislovodsk, the biggest park in Russia and in Europe. here we are after a little hike, no more than 10 minutes, on the top of the mountain overlooking Kislovodsk with a very beautiful panorama there between the trees, the cupolas, onion cupolas, golden, of the Kislovodsk Cathedral in the name of Saint Nicholas. And here we're gonna go to this Soviet era vista point. Wind is blowing, but I think we're gonna have a very beautiful view towards Mount Elbrus on the other side. So let's see. So here we're continuing our road, and we reached one of the hilltops of this park, and it keeps going. It's a very interesting geography. They're very mild hills here, and they're all connected through a network of paths and also some bike lanes. So you really have a choice of either just walking fully in nature on earth trails, or this network of very nice roads. There's benches everywhere, and I'm curious to go on the other side of this hill to see how the perspective would open up towards the Stavropol Krai plains. A lot of tourists, most of them really prefer the middle and lower parts here. We saw less, especially on the earth trails, the unpaved trails. So here we are at the top of the red hill. We arrived here in Kislovodsk on one of the higher points of the park. There's wind blowing, and there, far in the distance, next to the puffy white clouds, you can see, also covered in snow, the twin peaks of the Elbrus mountain. A bit hard to distinguish now, especially mixed with those impressive clouds next to it, but definitely you can see the sheer scale of the mountain overlooking this entire northern part of the Stavropol Krai. And we're just here, surrounded by a few other more ambitious hikers. Most of the people don't really take this route. It took us about maybe 1 hour to reach this point. We're still in this beautiful park, and we got to see Elbrus at the sunset. A very once in a lifetime experience.